Scalable Foundation for Growth is twofold. The first one is providing an opportunity for my team to grow. And so I'm really proud of the growth structure that we've created here. So each team member as an individual has their own success plan. So it's a personalized plan for their growth. They are assigned a teammate who is basically meant to work with them to reach their milestones and objectives, to succeed in their current role and then get to the new one. I guess the person's kind of like a swim buddy. That's what they act like. They guide them along and won't let them fail, leading them to reach those milestones and objectives as they grow in their position. And then with that growth path, every quarter it is reviewed. The success plan is reviewed, and the individuals are allowed to either apply for a new promotion or position or a potential merit increase.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we're going to talk about building a scalable foundation for your company. When you have a strong foundation in a house, you're able to build the first floor, second floor, and maybe even a big house to a third floor. But without a strong foundation, you can't build it. Same thing happens in a regular business. And sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. So today we're going to have on here the CEO of Alliant Consulting, Christa Schott. Christa and I talk about building a scalable future or a foundation for your business. And so when you look at today's interview, look at some of the things that you could be doing as your company continues to scale. She has over 100 employees, so put that into context. You're not going to get to where she is overnight, but thinking about those things, working with your team and figuring out what's missing and what's most important, that's what you can do through today's conversation with Christa. My name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach. I do focus primarily on CEO coaching, but we do a lot of executive work as well. And we also take managers and turn them into leaders. We do leadership development for companies in fast growth. In fact, we work with more Inc. 5000 level companies in leadership development than anyone else in the world. And when we go into companies, we're helping them identify the leadership roadblocks or blind spots that are getting in the way. So if you are a fast growth company, you've got chaos, you've got people problems, you've got some things that are out of alignment. You want to have a conversation with me so that we could talk about your business, talk about leadership, and I can use some of the tools that will accelerate your understanding of where you are and help you decide where to move forward. This is not a sales call. This truly is about leadership strategy and about how you are showing up as a leader and identifying your own blind spots and really helping you rise up to that next level and get out of the way so that you can build the team of your dreams and have a business that performs without you being there, pulling it along. If you're curious about this, go to genehammett.com. You can send me an email, gene@genehammett.com, and we will get on the phone, use my tools, and I will explore and discover with you and give you a plan, give you priorities, identify the blind spots, all of those things. I've done this for free for the last 10 plus years, and I'd love to do it for you. If you are a fit, if you're a scaling company, growing fast, and you have these issues, you want to get real clear about it, send me an email, gene@genehammett.com. Now here's the interview with Christa. Hi, Christa, how are you?
Hi, Gene. Excellent. How are you?
I am fantastic. We're going to have a great conversation today talking about building a scalable foundation for growth. And before we get there, let's talk about your company, Alliant Consulting.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity, Gene. So Alliant Consulting has been around for 22 years. I started it actually when I was 22, so I was just a baby out of college. I thought, oh, it'd be so cool to start a business and have an employee someday. Well, fast forward, our little tiny company, which started with just me, is now 100 plus employees. We're national, going international, and making a big impact across the country. What we do is prevailing wage compliance. And what that means to those who are not familiar is basically make sure people get paid correctly. And it's an honor to be able to help the little people to be able to make sure that they're paid correctly, what is owed to them to feed their families, and to work alongside my amazing team.
What is the biggest changes that are going on right now in the space that you're operating? I don't know if AI is having an impact, but what are the driving forces right now for your industry?
Driving forces is mostly the clean and green movement. So we are in the construction industry. That's kind of our bread and butter. And there's a lot of tax credits that require federal tax money that requires what we do, the wage and hour compliance and in the green and clean. What that means is clean energy. So wind turbines and solar farms and clean gases, hydrogen fuels or diesel that they're making out of soy and corn. So all of those things are a big part of the construction industry, especially when backed by the federal government that require services like ours.
Fantastic. Christa, we came here to talk about really, scaling your company and creating that foundation for growth. Where do you think we should start?
It's been such a crazy ride in our growth the last year or two. 200% growth this year, 100% growth last year, 85% the year before, year over year. So it's been kind of a crazy ride, but the foundation of that truly to me is the people and the leadership component of it. That's my favorite thing to talk about because that's what's going to take us into the next growth phase as well.
Well, when you think of leadership for a company your size, do you have an executive team? Do you have, kind of manager coaching and all that kind of stuff?
I do. So we have built our executive team out over the last 2 years of our hyper growth. 2 years ago, it was just me and everyone else. They had an org chart that just had me at the top and a lot of names beneath it. Since then, we've had to build out our departments and our teams as a really strong foundation to that growth. And so what I realized right away was my Achilles heel was I didn't have management. I didn't have leaders who could really step up and take the ball and run with it with the growth that we have. I like to say that we've been building the car as we've been flying down the highway. We're in a little Kia, but we're trying to be on a NASCAR track and soup up our car as we go. And so really developing leadership programs for our management to be able to make sure that they are properly trained with what our leadership style is and their management focus to be able to lead the team as we grow from 23 people 2 years ago to over 100 now has been a foundation of that.
Well, let's unpack that. What does it look like to create that scalable foundation for growth?
I think the scalable foundation for growth is twofold. The first one is providing an opportunity for my team to grow. And so I'm really proud of the growth structure that we've created here. So each team member as an individual has their own success plan. So it's a personalized plan for their growth. They are assigned a teammate who is basically meant to work with them to reach their milestones and objectives, to succeed in their current role and then get to the new one. I guess the person's kind of like a swim buddy. That's what they act like. They guide them along and won't let them fail, leading them to reach those milestones and objectives as they grow in their position. And then with that growth path, every quarter it is reviewed, the success plan is reviewed, and the individuals are allowed to either apply for a new promotion or a position or a potential merit increase. So that growth opportunity right there has been instrumental in growing people from the ground up, from entry level towards management. And then the second thing was really having a good leadership development program, making sure everyone's on the same page when it comes to our management style. We choose to lead from behind. So we lift up our team and kind of give them the tools and resources to succeed, guiding by example, but supporting as they embrace those challenges. And so developing a good leadership structure and program, starting with that idea, everything kind of falls in line.
Let's go a little deeper with this. The first part of this, the success plan. I think a lot of companies would say, check the box, I've got that. Mm-hmm. We look at these things and we realize that they're very much not clearly defined. They're mostly things that they put in an employment agreement and they change quickly. What is different about your success plan that you feel like makes it work for you?
Sure, because it's an individualized success plan. So once everyone is trained in the work that we do, so they understand the language that we speak, we have an interview process with them and we say, what do you like about this? What are your strengths in these types of things? What are your weaknesses? And let's build a position around you. And so there are multiple ways to grow within the company. You can go down training, you can go towards management, you can go towards research, finding out what the person is most interested in. If they like to do it, they're going to succeed. If they don't like to do it, they're probably not. And so truly making it an individual growth path and roadmap for them is foundation number one. And then the second thing is the growth path and all of the milestones and objectives that go along with that success plan. Because they are cured basically to that person, then they are eager to check some of those things off the list. But the path will have about 17 to 20 milestones and objectives to complete every 3 months. So it's not a one size fits all for everyone. You're not putting them all in a bucket and say, hey, this is the path towards management. It's what can you individually contribute to the team? What are your strengths? How we can build on that and push you along in the path that you want to take.
Now, Christa's talking about the success plan. I just wanted to highlight this. I've been researching fast growth companies for a long time. And one of the things that really drives fast growth companies is they don't hire people just to take responsibility of their work and their projects and the client experience. They hire people to take a sense of ownership. And the best way you can get people to take a sense of ownership and feel like owners in the business, even without a financial stake, is to give them a place to grow, truly grow, working on their own skills, their success plan, and giving them leadership development training. Those things combine together to create the most powerful element of personal growth inside the business. And those people tend to be loyal. They tend to overcome the challenges. They're not, talking behind your back because you're giving them a chance to grow. In fact, if you think about where you are in your career, someone who gave you a chance to grow is looked at fondly, and you probably admire that person for what they gave you. You could be that for the people on your team. Back to Christa. Love the detail there. When you mentioned the second part of that is a good leadership development program. What are the core elements of that for you? Because some people go, we have a book club, that's it. Some people make investments. I've heard the top tier of this is we had one of an Ivy League companies, I can't remember which university it was, but create a specific bespoke program for their entire company. That was probably overkill. That was the most I've ever seen anyone invest in their people. Where do you guys fit with that leadership development program?
So once the employee reaches a certain level of knowledge and they want to go towards the management track, we put them in a few different formal leadership development programs. The first one is a program that has been customized for us through the University of California, San Diego. It's kind of like a mini MBA focused on leadership. And what we love about it is it's been fine-tuned to us and our goals and our company and our growth and our leadership style. So that has been kind of foundation number one, incredibly successful. The second one is to have monthly meetings with the management team to really talk about where are we struggling with leadership? What are we seeing? What are the speed bumps that might be in the road? And how can we fix that? One of the things that we constantly stress is, hey, let's evaluate our problems. What has gone wrong this month? And how can we look in the mirror and say, what can we as leaders do better instead of looking out the window and pointing fingers? That's not the leadership style that we want here. And so making sure that all of our management and anyone going through the leadership program understands the fundamentals of the program that we're teaching them, but then also the respect and the empathy and then the discipline to be able to look in that mirror and say, how can I do better as a manager, as a leader, to help my team along the way?
I always curious about the different inflection points of leaders that come onto the show. We've all have different things that we've addressed, blind spots. Sometimes it's just letting go of an identity to be able to become CEO. Is there anything that you feel like you've kind of overcome or the breakthrough to be the leader that you are today?
I appreciate asking that question because to me, I jokingly say I haven't had a real job in 22 years because, I started the company so young. I don't know what other leaders and managers are doing. But to me, over time, I learned that good leadership truly starts with respect and then trust. I do make sure to connect with every single 100+ employees every month at least. Ideally a few times a month if I can. I really feel that it shows them I care because I do, that I'm supporting them, that I respect them. I believe that our most valuable employees are learning from this example because they're implementing their own types of showing respect and trust with their teams when they become a leader. I also realized very quickly that people are following me and what I do And I didn't really realize that until I was going, because a couple of years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, going through some family things. Everybody has them, right? I was kind of down for a couple of weeks, and I noticed that staff were starting to get frustrated. Our work productivity was starting to go down. People started taking sick days or mental health days, and it was just really odd for our team, which normally is very positive. I would just go in and shut myself in the office and kind of focus on my work so I didn't have to think about anything or talk to anybody. You know, we all go through those moments in life. But it really hit home when somebody knocked on my door, comes in and said, fake it. And I said, what do you mean fake it? And she said, Christa, fake a smile. We're miserable around here because you're miserable. Everybody follows your lead. And I said, I just didn't understand it. She said, when you're frustrated, we're frustrated. When you're happy, we're happy. And if you need to, fake it, because we need more positivity around here. And that was a really changing moment for me, because the next day I came in with a smile and everything changed. There was laughter, there was teamwork and collaboration, and work productivity went up. The change was truly astounding. And that was a defining moment for me in my leadership journey, to realize that good leadership truly includes attitude, and that makes a big impact on the team.
Now, Christa said the advice she got was fake it. Now, that can work. I really have seen this work in different places, but I will also know that some people need to just be much more intentional about what's going on. So I use the question, who are you being? So if we reflect back on who she was being down or sad, or something was impacting her, and that wasn't the place she wanted to be. Had I asked her who she wanted to become, which is a big 2 questions I ask in my coaching quite a bit, she would have been much more succinct about who she was, and she would have been able to see that it's a choice that she can move away from. You don't have to just fake it. It can work, but a higher, more intentional way of shifting yourself is to answer the question, who am I being that's getting in the way of X, and who am I becoming as a leader? And when you answer those really clearly and specifically, you will have a much better way of getting to where you want to be. Back to Christa. I'm glad I asked the question. I don't always get a chance to ask that question, but it was such a rich answer. I think it's going to serve a lot of people here today. Christa, we're here talking about building a foundation for growth. There's a lot that we could cover. I don't know if we've left out anything that you feel like is really important to that topic. Where would you?
I think to grow, I didn't know we were going to grow this quickly. I wasn't prepared. And so truly building that foundation, I think, is trying to see ahead, but also learning from the mistakes that are made along the way, to implement what we've learned and grow from it will really help build what you call, the topic of this, that true foundation for growth.
All right, well, we're wrapping up today. Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight from building the kind of culture that you have, or the kind of leadership development program that we haven't touched on?
I just think it's so important that everyone's on the same page when it comes to that leadership and management style. Each company is going to have its own culture and its own way of growing and developing good leaders. And so I truly believe that, going back to what I said earlier, leading from behind to lift up that team and really give them the tools and resources necessary and support them along the way gives people a lot of ownership when it comes to leadership and their roles, and it gives them the trust that they know that I trust them. It gives them the encouragement, and it really causes them to lean in to where we're growing. Not only are they growing individually, but we're growing as a company, and it's been an amazing thing to watch.
Well, I look forward to getting this podcast out into the world, and I appreciate you sharing your wisdom.
Thank you so much, Gina. Appreciate your time.
Wow, what a great interview. I love how she's investing in her people and the success plan that she's put in place, the leadership development. That's what it takes to create homegrown leaders. Now, you may have to still hire from the outside, but you want to be able to develop the people. It does increase their ownership, increases their ability to grow with you as the company scales, because a lot of companies are so focused on the marketing or sales and operations of their business that they don't think about developing their people and creating the kind of culture. But today we're talking about building a foundation for your business to scale. That's real leadership. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of growth thinking. As always, be with courage. We'll see you next time.